We were finishing the last hole, and it was the 18th hole coming back into where the castle is. I hit a rock, and I was like, I haven't hit a rock in 35 other holes. And it turns out it was a mosaic floor, 2,500-year-old Tuscan village underneath my 18th fairway.
It's a great shirt, JoJo.
Welcome to the EAL show, brought to you by Random Golf Club. Winter collection dropping in 2 days.
It looks nice and green.
Yeah, it kind of is the, you know that feeling in the grass, kind of towards the end of fall where it gets a darker green color?
Mm.
And you just know that those fairways are it's not going to roll out too much when you hit the ball.
Yeah. It looks like old pesto.
Ooh, like, you know, the top of pesto? When you scrape off the top and then underneath it gets greener and greener.
It's like pesto that might be too tangy.
Eric, I have like 3 things I want to talk about so bad.
Let's do it.
Okay, first of all, Precision Pro.
Oh, yeah.
That's not necessarily one of the things, but it is really.
If you're looking to be more precise with your professional endeavors, check out Precision Pro. They're one of our partners of the EAL show since the very beginning. And they've got the NX10, which you can personalize.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, go to precisionprogolf.com/Eric to get $20 off your next burger.
And you might not think $20 is that much, but when you put into the wider context of $40 saving a company, I mean, it really kind of changes your perspective on that.
$40 saves what company?
Our company. I mean, am I going to tell the story or are you going to tell the story?
What's the story?
We got hacked this week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We got hacked. Y'all, getting hacked might have been the best thing that happened to me this year.
Yeah, you were stoked about it.
I loved it.
You were excited enough that it might have made me a little suspicious about your role in the operation.
You thought maybe I was the hacker.
Yeah.
No, I didn't hack our account, but we did get out of it, which was incredible. I guess it's maybe too long of a story, but
I think we can tell. I mean, it was genius. Our director of special projects, Landon, in Cabo San Lucas at the time at a golf tournament.
In Cabo.
As he would describe, 8 Reposado tequilas deep in the tub. We'd been hacked from a Turkish internet. What am I?
By the Turkish internet.
email address.
Yeah. Yeah, they were logged in from Turkey.
Yeah.
Man.
And he went online, found out that he could purchase the email address from the hackers.
Yeah.
For $40 for a year and a half.
Which is crazy. I don't know how he even did that.
It made me think that nothing is safe and secure.
I mean, we're secure.
We're secure now thanks to 2-factor authentication. Don't try it.
Yeah.
Okay? Just don't fuck around and don't find out. It's basically our new approach.
The next bit of news, we got a Black Friday sale coming out, which is very exciting. There's 29 new pieces.
And the last bit of news is how excited I am for the guest who came on our program today.
Very exciting guest. Yeah. How would you define this character?
I would say he's got a gravelly personality and voice.
Yeah.
I would say.
The only thing more gravelly than his personality is his voice.
Mm-hmm. Or perhaps his time on a what was a dozer?
A D9.
A D9 dozer?
Yeah, I was like, what is that a bulldozer? Yeah.
Yeah, he was very casual with
that. He's uncovered Italian frescoes and tile from Alexander the Great.
He's flown with a band of brothers, you know.
Yeah, this guy, Jimmy Fazio, is very exciting to have him on the show. I actually hung out with him last night.
How was that?
At the party. It was good. It was good. He was hammered. No, he wasn't hammered. No. But he spoke about Austin Beach Club and he gave like an address. So anyway, without further ado, Jimmy Fazio, ladies and gentlemen, architect,
design archaeologist extraordinaire.
He's basically born into it.
Yeah.
So you love that one. So where do we start, Jimmy? I mean, you know, you've had such an interesting life and career when it comes to golf. How do you like contain it? What do you think about when people are like, what do you do? Like,
yeah. Well, it's actually the only job I've ever had in my life. I was kind of born into it. Family started before I was around, but it was something that I enjoyed. I liked it, and I liked the fact that, you know, you get to go out there and create something. I started from the bottom. You know, when my father started working for my great uncle, George, yeah. When he lost the 1950 U.S. Open to the miracle one iron shot that Ben Hogan hit on 18, and he was leading the tournament with Lloyd Macram already in the clubhouse, and Ben Hogan's coming back and he hits the one iron and it ties him, and then they go into the playoff. And I think from that point on, when he lost, he's like, I was playing better than all of them. I should have won, and I guess they only got $1,500 if they won the U.S. Open anyway. So
Whoa.
he decided, I think at that point, from what I was told, to become an architect instead of.
Why? Because he lost, or because he got paid?
Because
So
he
little?
just thought it wasn't, something was just, I don't know. I think it was because of that tournament he should have won, and he's like, debating. He probably was debating it before. I don't know much more about the story than that, but he didn't have any boys. So when he started to be an architect a few years later, he took my dad and then eventually my uncle, and they were working for him, but they always started at the top. They had people work for him. But when I started, it was like I'm picking sticks from 5 years, 6 years old behind a tractor all summer long, trying to make an allowance, or then graduating to a raking bunkers, and then to a tractor, then to a bulldozer, then to going in the office and learning how to draft and do all the renderings and stuff, and then eventually running jobs and traveling around the world doing what I do. But I do know how long it takes to pick sticks on a fairway, and I do know how long it takes to use a tractor or a bulldozer. So, and if something happens, I can always jump on those and help out sometimes.
So you've never had a job outside of?
Well, no,
being
I
a
mean,
golfer?
when I was in high school, I always did this, but did a couple little other things as a valet or bellman when I was,
Like you bag groceries. That's the only
I didn't
other
bag
job.
groceries, but yeah, I worked at the Jupiter Beach Resort as a valet and a bellman or whatever, and I still had my job,
And what year was that?
Oh God, 1983.
It must have been an interesting year to be a valet, right?
Yeah, it was.
Is that like full
I mean,
Florida cocaine
I was actually,
days?
I had all my friends working there. We had a blast. I mean, I had always cash in my pocket because it was, a cash business and didn't have to pay tax on it. So it was fun for, a 16-year-old.
That's the double benefit. You've got Florida benefit and a cash job.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, like, at what point, so you start out at 5 working with the family business, like making golf courses.
Yeah.
At what point were you like, oh, this could actually be Jimmy's job?
I think when I first got on a bulldozer and I got to sculpt it out myself, and I was like, this is fun. And I kind of picked it up real well, real quick. And the fact that when I do go out there now, before I listen to other people and what they told me to do, but when I got in the position very shortly after that where I could create anything I wanted. So I don't have somebody telling me this, because when I go out there, sometimes I might not even know what I want yet. And I make certain maneuvers and then it'll sort of come to me. And then, I sit back and look at it and think, and then go out there and I'll make a couple moves and go back and look at it again. And one pile of dirt might completely change my mind of what I want to do out there.
And so you're saying that for
Visually.
you, it's a 3D environment with wind and air and dirt.
Yeah. I don't know about the wind, but yeah, I basically, I design my golf holes like if I'm going to design a green and it's a par 3, I design it from the tee, because that's where everyone's going to be mentally looking at that green and setting up their visual shot for it. Once you're on the green, it can look all different ways if you're on the right side, left side, or whatever. But I set everything up from the position you're going to be hitting it into. So if it's the fairway, I set it up from the tee. And I have to get off my dozer because I'm too high on my dozer. I have to come out at 5.5 feet eye level, 6 feet eye level, and look that way. Because if I'm up 10, 12 feet on a bulldozer, I might see a bunker that I don't see down when I'm below if there's a roll or something hiding it.
So, you're talking about sightlines. Let me ask you a question. Like, a lot of architects and players like to, view the hole from the back tee. Is that something architects do? Do they like offer you a visual treat from the back tee, or is that a coincidence?
Well, it's funny because people look at a scorecard that play the white tees and they want to know how long the course is from the black tees, even though they'll never go back there. But the problem is that 95% of the players are blue and up and white tees, in the middle, and the back 2 tees are usually the higher more dramatic looking tees because, I have to have that higher than the tees in front of me or vice, whatever it is. And, usually they got the pretty neat carry that they're going to be carrying a lake or a different angle that's harder, but it looks more dramatic. But 95% of those people never see that tee.
Right. So you've designed courses all over the world. What is there a story that sticks out to you of just like something where it was like some extreme challenge or, were you ever mugged or?
One of the coolest stories I have is we were doing a course in Rome for a fashion designer, Laura Biagiotti, and we were doing it around this castle. And my brother started it, and I was working over in Japan, and then I would go there once in a while and help out, like on my way to Tokyo. But he had a girl he liked, and he was almost finished with the whole thing, And so he's like, Jimmy, I'm finished with my job in Japan. He goes, you come over here and finish this. I'm going to go back, and he ended up marrying this girl, and she's like the greatest person ever. But so I go over there, and my superintendent, who was a friend of mine from Lake Nona in Orlando that I brought there, he didn't pick me up from the airport one day, and I hadn't seen him. I don't know where he was at. So I get back to the castle, and Sunday, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to mess with him. So I get on no one's out there. No one's on the property at all. I get on an old D9, like 1959 D9. It's, contractors, and it had a cable plate. Yeah, it's a bulldozer. Okay. And so we were finishing the last hole, and it was the 18th hole coming back into where the castle is. And I was going to make a really steep slope off the 18th tee that was just vertical, 30 feet, where he had to fly mow it, with a harder maintenance scenario. I was just messing with him. I was going to fix it after that. But when I was doing it, I hit a rock, and I was like, I haven't hit a rock in 35 other holes. And it turns out it was a mosaic floor, 2,500-year-old Tuscan village underneath my 18th fairway. So, and we got to keep it. We mapped it out. I think they found a few gold coins with like Alexander the Great's face on it. So they dated it to that. And there was mosaic floors. We found tombs and all kinds of stuff. But the guy said, he goes, you can literally leave it like this. You can bury it if you want, but you just can't break through it with your irrigation or your drainage or anything like that, or you run over it and damage it. So I said, that's perfect. So we put a little lifted dirt over the tee area. So basically, instead of a waste bunker or a lake, we're playing over these ancient ruins that go between the tee and the fairway and then down the left side to a perfectly placed, like little half 90-degree corner wall that was part of a house that had a 90-degree angle right where my dog leg was, and then, made it sort of like a bunker. And then we even added some other old ruin stuff. And, you're looking at that plus the castle in the background.
So have you added like archaeologist to your resume?
Well, before they got out there, I put the dozer back, and I went and got my track hoe and was just kind of digging a little bit here and there just to see it. But then I'm like, I don't want to mess it up. So, we had it mapped out. You have to have it mapped out. You can't really do anything till then, but we paid a group to come in there and mapped it out real quick and dated it, and then we used it to our advantage.
Where are the coins, Jimmy?
I don't want to incriminate myself. No, I didn't find any of the coins.
He's going to be marking his putt in a week. You're going to look down.
That's not Alexander the Great. No, I found some bronze thing, but it was nothing. And they found it, and I don't know what they did with it.
Yeah. Let me get this.
I know my superintendent friend had one, but then when he got divorced, it mysteriously disappeared. And she thought, and he was not too happy about that.
So, and then another story that I really want to hear. I mean, you've seen Band of Brothers, right?
Absolutely. That's where we did a golf course right near there.
I know.
Currahee
and Toccoa. So I've wanted, dude, not only do I know about
that's my favorite course that we've ever done.
What?
Yeah. Even over Trump's in Rome, I mean, my first tee drop's like 155 feet. And, when Lake Hartwell sort of gets cool out and the fog comes out, I mean, it's like you're on Mount Olympus.
So quick question, Currahee, how many miles up, how many miles down?
Elevation change?
No, like in the show, he's like, it's like 8 miles up, 8 miles down, right?
Oh, yeah, that was a long show. I don't remember all the details, but I did watch it like a few times. I might have missed a few.
So are you familiar with Adventures in Golf?
I saw it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we had on our list to go to Currahee.
Oh man, you want to?
Can we go together?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go together, dude. I'm so excited about this, and like I didn't even know this until I started doing my research after Lauren connected us, and like I said, I literally have made like.
How are you going to run up and down those hills? You're going to.
Dude, I'm going to do it. I want to play there with some because they still have. It's a boot camp, right? Or is it? It's a base.
I don't know what they actually have there.
It's an army base, and it was the site of.
You're talking about the Band of Brothers thing,
Yeah.
or my club.
Well, no, I mean obviously your club is a golf club, but it's the closest golf club to Currahee, the army base.
Yeah. It's like the mountain right next to it.
Yeah,
It'd be really cool to bring some guys from the base over.
totally.
Absolutely, yeah. So we even have. I think my father was partners in a house there, but I think we still have that hookup. It's like 4 master bedroom suites and game room downstairs, and it's right on the 18th hole.
Done.
We will pay in gold coins for this closed location.
I know nothing about that.
Jojo, how you doing?
I am. These are great stories.
Yeah.
I feel like I got my popcorn out. I mean, the fact that you put your dog leg on the corner of an
It was a
ancient
perfect
ruin.
scenario.
I mean, what are the chances?
So, Jimmy, like when you're like looking at a project when it's completed, how do you separate like the story of creating it with the final product? Do you know what I'm saying?
Some pieces of property tell you exactly what you want to do. I mean, it's there. In Florida where I'm at, it's mostly flat land, and so you gotta figure something out. Like what my uncle did at Shadow Creek in the middle of a desert. That's all imagination. And it's a big deal what he did there and how amazing it was. But because he was working with nothing. But then you get properties like Pebble Beach or Cypress Point, and it's all you got to do is cut the grass.
Yeah.
That's already made. But yeah.
So okay. So zooming out, we're in Austin now, and you've got. I'm going to just say, I don't know if you would agree, but you've got a tricky little project on your hands.
I don't know how tricky it is. My job's pretty simple. It's just trying to figure out what exactly, the outcome she wants total, what package, there's a lot of options on the table, which way she can go. And I like the fact that she's not making a decision right now. And we're sort of just going with one phase at a time and slowly getting into how it's going to evolve.
So tell me about Lauren Carson. I met her this year. She came in and was like, I'm building a golf course in Austin. And I was like, whoa. And then just a few weeks ago, I saw the property itself. How did you two meet?
So first of all, Lauren, most motivated person I know.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main reasons why I, helped her out. Because in the beginning, I thought they were joking. I get a phone call. I live in Florida, the Palm Beach, West Palm, Jupiter area. And I guess her and a girlfriend of mine from there, who's like a little sister to me, but she's a pretty girl, but she's, she moved out to Colorado. I haven't seen her in a while. And I get a phone call from her at like 2:30, 3 in the morning, thinking something's wrong. So I answer it. And it's her and Lauren. And, they're in Colorado, but they're somewhere fun. And they're like, we want you to do a golf course and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking it's 2:30 in the morning. And there's two crazy
You answered the phone, my guy.
Yeah, well, I thought it was this girl.
You thought maybe she was in town?
It was me. I didn't know if she. No, I knew she was out of town. I just wanted to make sure she was okay.
Hey, dude, honestly, if my phone rings at 2:30, like, and I see it, like, I'm answering it.
Yeah.
This is your mission.
It could be
Should
the
you choose
opposite
to accept
of what I was
it?
doing, but
Curiosity.
So they're telling me they want to do this golf course. I have no idea what they're talking about, and I don't associate this girl Alana with golf at all.
Sure.
So, I was kind of like, yeah, sure, I'll go. You know what? If you guys do it, I'll help you out. And
hang on. So 2:30. Are you drunk at this point?
Oh no, I've been sleeping for like hours. Yeah.
How is your phone not on silent?
Oh, I never have my phone on silent. But
wow, good to know for the fans. If don't call or text Jimmy after. What's your bedtime normally?
12, 1 o'clock.
Nice. Yeah, same.
But I get 5:30 every morning. I'm up. I get 4.5, 5 hours of sleep.
Some people
I can do
operate on this. So anyway, Lauren and Alana call you in the middle of the night. You answer the call. The architect call.
Like, yeah, sure, I'll help you out. Just pretty much to get off the phone. And then I think a little while later they call back, and I'm like, sure, not really thinking much of the thing. And then she wanted to fly me out, and I'm like, all right, this is getting all right. I guess so I'll fly out there. Still not thinking much of it. And then just when I met her, her motivation, her energy was just like she wants to do this. She doesn't give a shit about the money. She doesn't give anything about you know trying to make a big profit. She wants to
Right.
be. She wants to have a neat project that she can put her name on. That that's something.
It's like for her, kind of. I mean, not like
Yeah.
only for her, but
I
it's a
mean,
dream of hers.
there's you know property values have gone up. She could have sold out and made plenty of money, and
Yeah.
she doesn't want to do that. But so when I first flew out, there was a lot of trees out there. So there's 3 different levels to the property, besides a couple big ravines that they have the Colorado River side that's down low, let's say at ground zero. And that goes for maybe from the Colorado River, maybe 50 to 100 feet into the next bank that goes up. That's about a 30, 40, 45-foot bank to the next plateau. And then that goes, and there's 61 acres. So I don't know what the lower level would be, but the upper level, the middle level is the most. And then there is a plateau that's another 50 feet up from that. So we're talking probably 88 to 90 feet above whatever. And that's a probably 10 to 12 acre
Right.
plateau. But when
That's
I
the
was
top portion where you kind of drive
top
in.
portion where the houses are, those
Yeah.
old houses. So, but when I was first there, the first couple years, all the slopes that came up to the top ridge, they had trees growing up over the horizon line. So when you were on the top, you never saw where you were looking. You didn't
Whoa.
realize that you had that plateau that could overlook the whole city lights of Austin. In fact, the last time that you could probably see Austin from that hill, Austin wasn't there.
Whoa.
And so that property's been vacant for a while. There was, I guess, 3 old ladies that lived there. There's rumors that some of them are buried out there. I don't know.
I heard that.
But
heard that.
either way, I told her, I said, listen, let's keep all your big oaks on the top. Anything down below that cuts my horizon line off from sitting back and looking at over that ridge. I don't care if the tree is 100 feet down. If it's coming up in my way, cut it out of our view.
Yeah.
And man, everything changed once that happened.
So JoJo's seen the property too. We went over there last week and like it's dramatic, man. Like there's not a lot of Austin is hilly, but there's not a ton of spaces that you go to where you can get like an unobstructed view of the city.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean it's a special.
We
spot.
look city one way, the airport's the other way, and in the corner, and then Elon Musk property. We see that whole building from our high part.
In a way, it's kind of like Narnia because you really don't expect it. Doesn't feel like Austin, but it's right in Austin. And you're very familiar with golf in Austin, of course. How unique of a property is it?
Well, just that view of the city, especially, I was working out there at night. Sometimes I'd actually stay out there just to get some photographs of it, and it's like
camping.
No, I was just on the, I was playing around with the
call
bulldozer.
at 2:30 in the morning.
Hey,
Jimmy, can you
I
come
have
out
lights
here?
on my dozer.
Jimmy, the late night show.
Sometimes I've worked till midnight
Yeah.
on the bulldozer, just going back and forth.
Are there headlights on the bulldozer?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And,
This is not the D9.
difference is, too, at night, I can back up and get my lights on it, and I can see every shadow of a dip. So I can kind of tell where the bird baths are. Any kind of nothing smooth, I will know it.
Oh, the lighting helps you grade smooth.
I can see things different in the lighting. If I get my lights at the right angle, they're just directly above now. But if I go backwards and I'm just flashing it kind of sideways on it,
So
it'll show my shadows where I have some pit marks and stuff that I got to smooth out or whatever.
So zooming out for those listening, we're talking about Austin Beach Club, which is going to be it's a private par 3 course.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know, I haven't heard of that.
There's some private. Well, it's more of the private club, the social membership in it. This par 3 will be a dramatic lit up at night par 3. So you're going to be able to come out there and have cocktails and be able to play golf up till midnight. You can have a 10 o'clock shotgun tournament,
Dude,
but it'll be lit up everywhere, and there'll be. I'm assuming we're going to have little halfway houses every 3 or 4 holes with maybe a fire pit and people serving drinks and
Right.
Maybe a band. Who knows?
Right.
But we want to go a little bit different than normal,
Yeah.
conservative golf.
How many holes are you thinking?
We're going to do 18 eventually.
Okay.
We'll probably do it in phases, maybe 9 to 12 at first. And I'm going to working on the whole land plan thing, but like to be able to multiple use that in different ways, like 6 in, 6 out, back in, so you don't have to play all 9, or you can play all 18 or whatever, but you could play 6, 6, and 6 and come in on each one.
Yeah, that's
Or,
key.
I've been trying to do that in real golf. Just sometimes it just takes too much area in that middle area.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think, like, how are you seeing, like, when did you design your first course?
oh God,
88?
yeah, around the late 80s,
Late 80s.
87, something like that.
So that's been a big, like, golf has seen a lot of different things in that time period.
Evolved, yeah.
What like, between obviously Tiger and then the internet and then COVID, like everything's changed. Even photography's changed.
Well, I mean, Tiger did us a heck of a favor by bringing everybody into golf. I mean, he was a phenomenon, and it for sure helped our business for sure.
So like, how are you seeing it impacting the like psychology of the golfer?
Well, there's just a lot more people playing, and a lot of these, non-traditional players are really good athletes, and they're coming up out of the woodwork, and they're doing a heck of a job. And I think it's good for golf that just more than the rich people get to play. But I think that the pros get better. I think the average guy, they have a little more technology, so a little better, but they kind of stay the same. I keep backing tees up. I have to have, before we had 3 tees on a golf course. Now we have 7 sets of tees, because I still have to keep the same distance for the average member, senior member, whatever. And the back guys, I got to have it 7,600 yards. That's 600 yards longer than most courses. That, even a long course at 7,000 yards, it's not even close.
Yeah.
It's a drive and a wedge and a drive and a 9-iron almost every hole.
So what's the most expensive part of building a golf course?
Well, as far as the building of it just depends on where you're at. You could be in the middle of a rock quarry, or in rock, or if you're in sugar sand. Like in Florida, we could build a golf course quick, and because it's sand. If it's sugar sand and it rains, it doesn't affect me. In fact, it helps me. If I'm in Georgia at Currahee, if it rains and it's on clay, I got to wait for that to completely dry before I bring my dozer or even make a track out there. Because if I disturb that dirt while it's wet, it won't dry. It'll take longer to dry than it would if I don't disturb it at all.
Interesting.
And so that can just multiply into months, because if it takes 3 days for it to stop raining, it takes 2 days for it to dry out. If it rains between there, you got to start over again.
And are you just sitting in the house waiting?
People, the contractor is, but it's not about sitting in the house. It's about all that equipment he's got sitting there,
Rented
or owned, but still costing them money to just sit there and do nothing. So
whoa. So basically,
real expensive.
rain delays can be inexpensive.
Yeah, when you're in the right kind of soils or the wrong kind of soils, let's say.
What is sugar sand?
Sugar sand is just pure sand that water will go right through.
Right.
Like it's harder if it's really dry out. Sugar sand is kind of hard to even mold, because it'll just dry out and fall apart. So it actually helps if it rains in the sugar sand. Like we did Trump's course in West Palm, pure sugar sand, and it could rain all day long, and it would actually help us out. If it were to do that in Georgia or anywhere with clay or whatever, you'd be shut down for months.
Yeah.
So.
Did you want to go to a break?
As far as the price of what a course costs, it could be involved with the soil, how big of a project is.
Yeah.
To build a course in 4 months, or we could take us 2 years.
Yeah, let's go to a quick break and come back. And
Yeah, we'll be right back, everybody. All right, folks, this episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Unfortunately, life does not come with a user manual, that I've found anyway. So when it's not working for you, it's normal to feel stuck. BetterHelp can help, go figure, with this by navigating any of life's challenges to make you feel more sure. And whether it's a career change, a new relationship, or becoming a parent. Therapists are trained to help you figure out the cause of challenging emotions and help you learn productive coping skills, which makes therapy the closest thing to a guided tour of the complex engine called life. Oh, called you. I guess they're the same. So anyway, therapy's played a huge part in my journey. Have you ever gone to therapy, JoJo?
yeah, I definitely did when I was in college a little bit. Yeah.
What happened?
Why did I stop?
Did you need a user manual? Were you
They
stuck?
fixed it. It was all done. No, but learning to ask for help, and then really, really taking some time to ask the big questions.
Yeah.
I think it can only ever help.
Yeah. I have a lot of big questions. Big question I have for you is, are you going to go to BetterHelp, HELP.com/Anders, ANDERS? If you do, you're going to get 10% off of your first month at BetterHelp. The cool thing is that there's no waiting rooms, no traffic. There is literally no traffic. Maybe your bandwidth, but come on. So anyway, go to BetterHelp, HELP.com/Anders to get 10% off your first month and get started on the right track. Figure that out. I've got 4 letters for you. Actually, no, I've got 3 letters for you,
Yeah, what are they?
but there are 4 places. O, and there's 2 O's and an N and an I.
Yeah.
Ooni.
Ooni.
I'm going to read the copy and I'm going to fuck this up. Ready? In a good way. There's nothing like a hot, fresh pizza with the cheese. Let me start over. Keep this. There's nothing like a hot, fresh pizza when the cheese is still gooey. That's why I'm such a fan of Ooni pizza ovens. I thought I was going to read a poem.
Oh, you thought it was going to be like a haikuni?
Go to Ooni.com, OONI.com. There's no discount code, but you're going to love it. I'll tell you one quick story, though. I went over to the Ooni HQ here in Austin, and they fucking Ooni'd us a ribeye.
What?
They cooked a ribeye in like 60 seconds, and it was the best thing I'd ever had. It was like rare in the middle and black on the outside. That's how to do it. So anyway, thanks for Ooni for sponsoring the podcast. Go to www.ooni.com.
You ever wanted to look fucking tactical?
I have, actually. I always like to look tactical.
I'm so happy that we got these guys in our life.
This is the Ridge wallet and key case. It allows you to always have your cash and cards in your wallet. The wallets have over 50,000 5-star reviews. There's 30 colors, and including carbon fiber, which is pretty techy, and they also have burnt titanium. The durable material, which each wallet comes with, means it has a lifetime warranty. It's pretty sick. The cool thing about the Ridge wallet is that you're going to get 40% off through December 22nd if you use the code EALShow at ridge.com, ridge.com/EALShow. Before December 22nd, head over to ridge.com to get 40% off on the wallet. That means that they're basically putting credit cards in it for you. So, how many new projects are out there for you? How do you, because it's like for you, it's like if you do a project, it's like it's your life for a year or two.
It's my life and well, we have more than one project sometimes going on, but it's my reputation. So a lot of the courses, most of them, to get a new course is a little unusual now because it's so saturated.
Yeah.
The problem is you can buy a course for pennies on the dollar sometimes because, they can't afford to maintain it. The biggest problem with any course is the maintenance on it.
Right.
It's not building it. It's to take care of it every year. That never changes. In fact, it only goes up. And depending on the commodities of your fertilizers or pesticides or whatever else it is, you've got 12, 15 people taking care of 18 holes that, superintendents make between 150 and 200 grand. And everyone else, it's expensive to take care of a course.
How often do you interact with the superintendent when you're done with the project? Yeah.
A lot, yeah. More so than the pro.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And what's the problems that they encounter that you help them solve?
Mostly drainage
Right.
issues, or sometimes there's a grass issue. I'm not an agronomy or a qualified superintendent, but I have agronomy that a guy that works for us that's sort of a consultant that we would bring in and help the superintendent if he's having a grass problem. Most of the problems we deal with are either a redesign of the hole, if they want to add a bunker or take a bunker out. A lot of times it's just too hard for them, especially in Florida. You got a lot of older members, so I deal with those things. But most of the time, it's a drainage issue.
Right.
With the superintendent.
Yeah, I remember I did get the chance to meet Pete Dye, and he told me that a golf course needs 3 things to be successful: drainage,
Yeah, right.
and drainage.
Well, it's a big deal because it's not only can you not play on it, you can't ride your cart on it, they can't cut the grass on it.
Right.
They'll just make a mess. And if it's not draining right, it becomes a big issue. And, superintendent's job's on the line if it's not done right.
How often are you able to predict the drainage? Like how often are you wrong?
We know, obviously it's all about gravity and slopes. So we know where the drainage should go, but sometimes the soil could be so bad in areas, it could be spotty. So it could be fine over here, but there's different soil over here. And even though we have the slope drainage into a drain that's, gravity, usually, more than 0.1%, 0.2%, of a slope, it should get in there. But there's times where the soil is just so bad or it gets caught up in there that then we might have to go in and do some kind of a French drain, which we
A French drain.
French drain is something like it's a perforated pipe. So instead of a 4-inch solid pipe with a catch basin that comes up and a hole that drops right into it, we'll take an underground pipe and we line that whole trench. Instead of filling it back with dirt, we fill it with a pea gravel. And the pipe itself has holes all in it. So the water goes in from underneath the ground, not just on top of it.
Oh, wow. So
It'll
it's like a
suck it and
Q-tip.
draw it in there. And usually we do it in a herringbone kind of scenario. So if the water slopes coming down the hill, we herringbone it out about every 12, 15 feet. And the water will eventually hit that stone and drop in and eventually find into that pipe.
Right. Yo, that's crazy. Yeah. So like, wait, what's the difference with the soil? So some soil is more like thick and like clay and non-porous?
Some of it's about fines. It could be different particle sizes. And then when you start to layer different, when you move dirt, sometimes you'll put a finer thing on top of something and then they start to make layers. And then or it could be an organic, layer of something that, just backs it up.
So are you able to play golf and turn off your designing hat or your construction
Not
hat?
really, no. I'm always thinking I'm not thinking about the drainage unless there is a problem. But I'm thinking about what else I could have done on that hole.
Well, what if you're playing a course that's not yours? Do you get like hella critical?
Even more so.
What do you hate to see when you're playing a course that's not yours?
What I hate that I've actually had to do is we had a piece of property up in like the Pine Barrens where Pine Valley is.
Yeah.
It's probably the same ridge, maybe 50 miles south. And it was this Pine Valley looking piece of property. And it was for a Pulte home, old folks home. And I had to grass the whole thing and just make it, no imagination. They didn't want any sand. And I'm like, man, you're looking at Pine Valley here and I got to grass this whole thing and make it a really lame par 3. And that's what they wanted. And it was killing me.
You might not have this off the top of your head, and obviously don't tell us the course. What's the ugliest hole of golf you've ever laid eyes on? You've ever been playing and said, wow.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Is there a perfect hole?
I did say I'm not going to say it was ugly. I just thought it was weird. There was a green. It was done a while ago, and it was a funnel. I mean, just the whole thing funneled in. I mean, if you hit it on the green, most likely you're going to get really close to the cup.
Right.
Because the drainage was in the middle of the green where the pin was, and it was pretty, probably a 1% slope all going in at least, maybe sometimes more.
But that's not like a punch bowl green. It was something.
Yeah, it was like a punch bowl green, and it was pretty dramatic. It was like, man, if I could hit it anywhere in that circle, I'm pretty much going to get a hole in one.
What course is that?
We don't have a problem with that design.
Is there a perfect hole? Is there a hole that you look at and you're just like, man, they did not?
There's a lot of them, but it's amazing. Like when I look at a hole, I can there's a golf course that a friend of mine wanted me to go look at to redo some stuff up in Westchester, New York, and it was a amateur architect that did it and owned it, and I looked at that course and I was like, there's not a thing I would change, and I've never said that. I was like, Jesus.
What course is that?
I forgot the name of it. I wish
When you remember,
I
text
wish
me.
I
I'd love
could
to
give
know.
the guy kudos because he did a good job. And there's not many times, even my own courses, I can always think of something I would have rather done or wish I could do again. But that was like, wow, this is a perfect course. But it was kind of like a shinnecock looking thing.
Okay.
I had a question that
Good.
I've been thinking about ever since you mentioned those ruins earlier. They've just been in my head.
Yeah.
And, before we started the show, you were talking to Eric and I about, some of those old courses 70, 80 years ago, Riviera.
100 years ago, yeah.
And even, you can go back much, much farther. When you get a new project and you're working, not on a restoration or renovation, but when you're looking at a new sandbox, are you thinking about people playing in 100 years?
Not really. I look at what people are doing and what they can and can't do, and technology has changed that. So now I'm always doing the same thing for the average player, but now I got to think about what am I going to do to challenge the pro. And that always changes because these guys just keep getting better and better. And this technology is, before Ben Hogan was hitting it 250, 260 was a pretty decent drive. When Jack Nicklaus came in at 300, that was huge. Now they're hitting at 350 on average, and Shambo's out there hitting at 400 and some yards, where it's really taken all the shot value out of what the original architect wanted to have in there.
Right.
For example, number 13 at Augusta National, Pete Dye was going over this with me before he passed. He was upset about the technology, and he said, and he gave me an example. 13 at Augusta National was always a long drive positioned on the left side of the fairway, and then a long second shot that had to carry Race Creek and stop it before it went in the bunkers in the back. And coming in hot off of a 4-iron or a 2-iron or a 3-wood, that's a strategy, or shot value that architect wanted. If they hit it so much further and they're hitting a 7-iron into that green, they're going to drop it on a dime, and there is no shot value that the original architect wanted to have. And that's happened on hundreds of holes on, some of these courses that we've held the Ryder Cups and U.S. Opens on for the last 120 years. They're just outdated.
So are you part of the Rollback Alliance?
No, I don't really. I just have to keep building usually it's the owner that we talk about, and if we both jive on what we want to do, if it's something that I think is out of my character, I wouldn't take the job.
Yeah.
But I sort of, if it's going to be a tournament course, which most of them aren't, most of mine are the opposite way, where they don't care about the back tees, they only care about the the members tees, and their average age is 75.
All right. So paint me a picture of like, money doesn't matter. You got full creativity. Where do you really want to build a golf course? Like in the world, is there a place where you're just like, man, like that would be crazy. Maybe there's no people there, but what doesn't matter?
Well, so I'm more of a Pine Valley guy than I am Augusta National guy. Now you have Cypress Point and Pebble Beach, and there's no comparing them with anything else. I mean, they are what they are. But when, if you look at, if Augusta National is a little different. I mean, if you've been out there and you look down that 10th hole, the TV does not even do it justice at all. It's mind-boggling, amazing. But if you were to build Augusta National today, somebody did it right off the bat, and they didn't say, you would get laughed out of the golf world to have those kind of slopes and those percentages of slopes on the greens, and the way it's designed, mostly in the green areas, but you would get laughed out of the golf world. It's just not fair. It's not anything, but it's part of Augusta. It's part of history, and it's famous for it. But I would rather prefer the more natural Pine Valley look. I mean,
Yeah.
Pine Valley's been number one for a long time for a reason, and it's not on the ocean, and it's not, doesn't have that much of a dramatic contour change in the big trees like Augusta does. But Pine Valley has, that kind of natural, God did it, not, man-made perfectly straight lines or symmetrical lines or whatever. It's more of a natural, I've been there forever kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if you look at a green on Pine Valley, there's no shapes to most of them. They're just big areas, and there might be 6 bumps you go over. You can have 5 different breaks in a putt that's 30 feet.
That sounds stressful.
And then you walk off the green, and in 4 steps there's a tee. Can't do that in many places because Pine Valley members are pretty good golfers.
Yeah. But as far as like geographic, like Norway, Hawaii,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, is there some type of geographic thing where you're just like, man, I want to see it at the base of the fjords or like,
Yeah, I mean,
Black Sands Beach.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, do you
Blue
give a shit
Lagoon.
about that or no?
well, when I see that, any picture I see, now sometimes you can get too much elevation, but and you have to be able to flatten an area out. Now, if you're going to do a par 3, you can almost do that anywhere, but because you can go from tee to green, you don't need a fairway. But if I'm going to do any par 4s, and obviously I like the contours because I think they can add a lot of dramatic views, but can you get it out there? I have to go 300 yards straight and have it 250 feet wide, and if I'm on a mountainside, that's sometimes hard to pull off.
Yeah.
But there's anytime I pass by a spot like right in Jupiter in Hope Sound, there's our Jonathan Dickinson Park, and it's on a ridge where Jupiter Hills is, another course that my uncle George, when we all moved down from Philadelphia, in 72. I think they started in 69 building Jupiter Hills. And I think it was my uncle, Bob Hope, and some other guy, William Elliott, that were the three founding members. And it was just like Pine Valley. I mean, the same sand ridge, all pure white natural sand. And it's inside the state park. And the state, you pass Jupiter Hills, but the whole state park is the same way for like 10 miles, a few miles anyway. And I don't ever pass that, just thinking of all the tees and greens I could put just looking at it from the highway. But
What's the hardest hole you've ever designed, you think?
so we did a job in Canawan. It was St. Vincent Islands in Canawan by Mystique, where I don't know, and it's way out there. If I left Miami on a commercial jet, it takes me 3 hours to get to Barbados, and then I got to take another, commuter flight down for another 45 minutes. But I think I had 800 foot of elevation change on that hole, on the golf course, and one hole drops. It's 303 yard par three. It drops 280 feet or something like that. And I have this waterfall. There was a creek, but we moved 12, 15 foot boulders in there. And we just have this waterfall coming, and it goes right underneath the green and comes out the other side.
Whoa.
And when you think, well, I'm 250 feet up, it's 300 yards, but listen, if the wind's going the other way or whatever, the green looks like a quarter. That's how low how far away it is. And it's like, how much? But I do have the whole right side of a bank. So if you just hit anywhere on there, I have a pitch where it'll kind of get on the green. But
Jimmy, I feel like your courses could make an entire season of Adventures in Golf.
Yeah.
Like we've got the one in Rome. We've got this one here.
Band of Brothers.
In
Band of Brothers,
where's
Currahee.
it? Kiwana? The one you were talking the Currahee one. But then where's the one you were just talking about?
In Canawan, St. Vincent Islands, yeah.
St. Vincent Islands. I've never even heard of
about 50, 60, 100 miles south of Barbados. It's where they film Pirates of the Caribbean.
Chill.
It's way out there.
So chill.
Jimmy just goes wherever those gold coins are.
Yeah, right.
All right, so Jimmy, dude, let's make some films together, dude. When are you going back to Canawan?
I'm not the one running down the fairway there, I can tell you that. But
when are you going back to Canawan?
We finished it. I've been hoping they would redo something there. I think Trump, actually, we got him involved after we did 9 holes there first, and then we redid a new 9 that wasn't there on the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
I remember Microsoft's 25 top guys came in there when I was finishing it, and we were redoing something up there on the top, and Paul Allen's boat came like 2 weeks before, and there was their security making mock helicopter runs of where these guys are going to be, and I was up on the top of the mountain and I was sketching out a hole, and I had like 6 guys that were working, fixing the bunker on the right side of the green, and a ball hits my cart. He's like, the guy walks up, he's like, "Hey, my name's Bill Gates." And he didn't even care about the ball. He's like, "What in the world?" Like, he loved this back 9. I think he skipped all of his meetings and just played golf.
I loved it.
And I think I was there like even a week later after he was already off island, and I think he flew his wife back to play the back 9 that was up on the hill like that. I was like, well, that's a pretty good compliment.
Hold on. So he said, "My name is Bill Gates."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he didn't even say like
cart, and
I get,
he was just like being polite, but I'm like, obviously everyone knows who he is.
Yeah, I think that's polite, but like, don't you think you say, "Hey, my name is Bill"? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what do you say? "Hey, my name is Bill Gates."
He probably did say Bill,
Yeah.
but
But you were in your head, you're like, "That's fucking Bill Gates."
Yeah. Like if you did,
before we was even on the island.
I mean, if you do that association test, if you just said the word Bill.
The island's only 1,600 acres, so, and that's, the resort's only, few hundred, so.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to work on this. This is fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Jimmy, thank you for your time, man.
No worries. Man.
I'm looking forward to getting on the road together. This is going to be fun.
Wait till you see some of these holes we're going to do at this beach club.
Yeah, we can
I don't want to
put
make
that in there too.
I don't want too many people to see them because I want people.
Well, let's come out
What
on
a
Friday.
cool show. Can you think about the show? Like, the show is about creating the Austin Beach Club, and in between you go to these other courses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so the show is like all about the creation of it.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
Yeah.
well, you're talking about it. Well, this is actually my inspiration. It's because of this time I worked there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're,
what the fuck was I going to say? I can't remember.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to.
What, are you going to be at the Austin Beach Club on Friday?
Yep.
Okay, cool. We'll come out. We'll bring some cameras. We'll come out.
Show you guys how to do the dozer.
Oh,
You ready for that?
I
Oh,
don't think we can keep this in, but I'm a little scared of what you might find if you start taking.
Yeah, no, this is you'll only find Sandy alone, but at this place. But yeah, yeah, it's fun.
Cool.
It's all closed cab. You got your air conditioner, your heater, your
Oh, that's
stereo. Everything's in control of your hands.
what's your song of choice?
I like all kinds of '80s love songs.
Yeah?
I like
Jimmy Buffett?
I love Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I listen. Depends on my mood. And sometimes if I remember my dad yelling at me, we were in Japan, and he's like, "What the hell are you listening?" Because I really did some bunkers around the screen that looked just so dramatic, and I thought it was great. But it was when I first started shaping it. It was a little out, crazy. And he was like, "What are you listening to? Guns N' Roses? You better put on some Jimmy Buffett and calm that shit down." So I'm like,
Have you been to Butler?
And I'm like, yeah. What's that?
Have you been to Butler?
Yeah, I have.
Jimmy Buffett is involved with that.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, thanks for coming on the show, Jimmy.
No worries.